First of all, let's use something added here like this one. This is the class here. So this is the orange, this is the red. This class, it will be using the green. We are just using some kind of color combinations, and this will be for say yellow. We have no need of this last element here. As we had said earlier, that this individual container, it will be supporting 4 columns each row. So there are 4 columns right over here, and all we are going to do, we are going to use some kind of classes which concerns about these colors. Now if we head back to our project and reload, we can see that this will be the result here. So these are the classes which practically concerned about the color system. Another thing, we may use something like this one. So divided is another class, the purpose of which is to put a divider into these individual columns that we have created. So right now it is unseen. This is due to the fact we have used some color classes over here. So in case of getting rid of it, all we need to do in the first place, just remove these classes which is representing colors into each individual columns. We'll be removing them. There it goes. Hit Ctrl S. Head back to your project and reload, and we can see, there it goes. Let me zoom it in for you, and we can see that there are some kind of dividers in between. In the next case, if we use for say some kind of 4 column thing right over here, as we had used earlier, so we are going to check whether the setting of the number of columns per row and the setting of the width of columns per row both are supported in a single container or not. Let's demonstrate it practically. So we have created a container where we have specified that each row will be supporting up to these 4 columns, and in this row we have also set some kind of width properties to these individual columns. That means the first column it will be consuming up to 2 grids, the second column it will be consuming up to 5 grids, the third column it will be consuming 6 grids, and the last column it will be consuming up to 3 grids. We have set both of them together into a single container. Instead of this 4, we have already used this 4 here. If we now use 3, it will be more demonstrational. So we can see that though we had mentioned this 3 column grid, that means this individual grid, it will be supporting 3 columns for each individual row. It should be aligning the first 3 columns into a single row, resulting this 4th column to descend down out of the row that we had created here. But this is not the same thing that we can observe here. Reload. Let's check whether we have pressed this Ctrl S. Yeah, we have done this previously. So now reload again, and we can see that now we have specified that this individual row is supposed to hold 3 columns in it. Instead of that, it is supporting all the 4 columns into it. So this is due to the fact we had already mentioned the width of these individual columns, and that is why it is acting as per being mentioned right over here. It is practically setting down the width of each individual column instead of the space, available space within the grid. And that is why instead of forming these first 3 columns into a single row, it is supporting all of these individual 4 columns into the same row which we had created right over here. Now if we just remove this width specification, that means how many grids it will be consuming up. We have removed all those classes, those are not needed. Right over here, press Ctrl S. Now if we get back to our project environment, and now we can see that it is acting accordingly. This time we haven't mentioned the width of how many grids will be consumed by each individual column, and that is why the total available width inside the container is now being segregated into 3 columns as been mentioned in the first place in this part of this individual grid system. So that is why let's have this divided class being used again. So that is why all it is going to do, it is going to separate these individual elements into 3 equal width columns in the first row, and then it descends down the 4th column, forming into a new line into the same row. So let's revert back to the original thing that so that's it for today's tutorial. In the next tutorial, we are going to know some more classes regarding this UI semantic language. Stay tuned.